G'day everybody and welcome to episode 2 of The Road to Knoxville on Speed Stories. Today, something very special. We're hitting the road to Phoenix, Arizona. We're going to catch up with one of the absolute gods of oval track racing in that region, the Flying Shoe, Ron Schumann. And we've got something special for Ron that we're sharing with you as well. Sydney speedcar and midget diehard Glenn Cox has lovingly restored a piece of racing nostalgia that is very dear to Ron Schumann's heart. What is it? Let's take a look now, and then later in the program, catch up with the wonderful Ron Schumann. Oh, it's a pretty looking hot rod. It's not exactly turkey night in Camden, but it could be if we closed our eyes. This is just a gorgeous piece. I'm excited to show Ron Schumann this car, Coxie, because he has a very special connection. This is Glenn Cox, who's a speed car racer himself, and his old man's definitely a passionate speed car / midget guy.
Midgets for sure.
Just so we clarify that for you. Mate, this is a sweet looking ride. Tell me about it.
Well, originally Trevor Green imported this car.
Yep.
Probably around about the probably late 80s, I'd say. Trevor imported it from America and had quite a successful career in it as well. And a friend of mine bought it in the early 90s off Trevor. And he was going to race it himself, but he was 6.5 foot tall and didn't fit in it. So I always knew the car's history before it kind of came to Australia. So I didn't kind of luck into it. I knew what it was all about.
Yep.
And basically I said to my friend Adam, I says, if you're not going to race it, I'd love to get hold of the car and restore it. And at the time he said, well, I'd like to restore it too. I said, well, okay, if you change your mind, let me know. And I reckon probably a few years later he gave me a call and said, I've got this car for sale. So that's how it all started. So
let's have a look at the car. And I think if you've got the programs here somewhere as well.
Just in the seat there.
So we might have a quick look at some cool artwork that you're very proud of as well. What I love is you haven't overdone this car, Coxie, have you? Like you've deliberately kept it as racy looking as you can.
They can be a little overdone and over polished and over chrome, but I like to try and restore cars to the way they were. Which is a little bit got Black Law style, which is why it is.
Show me what you got there.
Okay, this is a print from Turkey Night program.
Yep, that's the car.
That's the car, and what they do at Turkey Night is they do a painting of the car that wins the race.
Yep.
And the following year the car appears on the program. And I'm fairly sure they still do it today. So.
There's a fairly cool photo of one that Ron Schumann testing the laws of physics as well that you have on the...
Yeah, that's right.
Is it Open Wheel or...
Open Wheel magazine.
Yeah, there you go, which is the Bible for many years, wasn't it? Absolutely.
Yeah, it was the Bible.
Especially for us in Australia. It was our only real link, wasn't it?
That's how you found out about things, wasn't it?
Yeah, so, look at that.
There you go. So that's Ron Schumann at Ascot. I think it might have been qualifying for Turkey Night, but I'm not 100% sure.
I know you'd be looking forward to our chat with the Flying Shoe on
for sure.
Road to Knoxville.
Yeah. I think Ron might know about this car. His son Casey Schumann, I think, has seen some photos of it, and but I've never spoken to Ron about the car. So yeah, I'm sure he'd be thrilled to see it the way it is.
Do you ever get it dirty, Glenn? Do you ever take it out and give it a crack?
No, I have started the car, but
how do you start it and then not want to do that?
Well, look at it.
I know.
So I haven't...
but it's a race car, not a show car,
If we had a pavement track, I'm sure I would have flogged the hell out of it by now.
That's cheating.
Yeah, that's true.
Mate, it just looks... Is there any part of it that you love more than anything else that sort of takes you back to the cars of this? I just love the bonnet, to be honest, and the open cockpit.
Oh, just great looking race cars, and a lot of guys love the 70s and 80s kind of style.
Absolutely. Big tail tanks.
Got a beautiful number on it. So.
She does.
I don't go around that side.
I'm not looking at the scratch that you just didn't want us to see. It's just such a beautiful piece. A lot of room in there. Open seats, no containment seats back in the day, Coxie.
They're all pretty rough and ready back in the day.
I just love these wraparound style.
Yeah.
The bonnets.
Bit of a throwback to the VW midget kind of bonnet with a few little changes here and there.
I just love the fact you've got a shot of him in that car, up on it. A cracking winter Aussie sunset over the top of a gorgeous piece. Glenn, you've done a beautiful job, mate. You must be very proud of this car.
I am very proud of this car, and the car has such a great history in America. It was a privilege to do it. It was a fairly easy restoration because the car was complete, fairly complete. So there wasn't too much bits and pieces to make for it. So it's a very original car. Yeah, it was just a pleasure to do it. When you see its racing history in America, I just had to do it.
And I'm very, very glad you did, and I'm pretty sure that Ron Schumann will be glad that you did it as well. Thing looks absolutely cherry. Hope you enjoyed this, folks. On the roads of Knoxville, in a little spot called Camden in New South Wales, which has plenty of racing history as well. This is the Glenn Cox restoration of the Cosworth. Ron Schumann. Turkey Night winning car. And Belleville. Well, now there's a joint. There's a BAD 855
won
place.
Belleville and won Copper Classic twice.
I think the list is down
you
here,
can show
isn't
it on the list there. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, that's probably just a few things that it won. It's probably won a lot more than that, but...
And Trevor Green will love the fact that it was won.
Well, I made sure I got Trevor's name on there somewhere. When I've said Trevor.
For almost 40 years, Metro Auto Spares has been serving Tasmanians with great parts, at great prices and with great service. This proudly Tasmanian-born and bred business carries nearly 150,000 line items. They've got everything you need to get your pride and joy or your daily driver spick and span or back on the road. They've got the range and they've got the know-how. For all your automotive parts requirements in Devonport and Tassie, contact Danny, Rachel and the team at Metro Auto Spares. You can find them at 11 Wenvo Street or phone 6424 7722. Metro Auto Spares. They're the team that cares. So through the magic of television, we showed you a little bit earlier on, Ron Schumann, the Turkey Night winning, I think, 84 Stanton Cosworth that Glenn Cox has down in Australia, and I guess you got a bit of a smile from seeing that old girl.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun,
And that's this car right here.
Yeah, this was qualifying at a daytime show at Ascot.
And so you pulled that off.
Yeah, I didn't crash there. The first lap was quick time, and this one was actually going to be better, but obviously it wasn't better. But
well, style per hour compared to mile per hour, that's right up there.
That's pretty high up.
Where's this?
That's Ascot also. Not the same day, but the same car. But this is daytime Ascot.
There's so much to talk about with you, Ron. It's great you can catch up with Lealand. I mean, what an amazing man he is. But it's so good that you two are so bonded for so many years.
Yeah. We actually went to Hawaii one time, went on vacation, went together to Hawaii with the wives. I mean, not by ourselves, but...
That's cool. How did you get into this game? Was it through your big brother?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was racing motorcycles, and I was always competitive on bicycles and never raced them competitively or anything, but I mean, I was always pretty fast on them. And then we got into motorcycles, and just about the time I got into motorcycles, Billy raced 1 year the same, but he was racing 250s, I was racing 125. And then once I got into the 250s and the bigger bikes, he was gone off racing cars mostly.
Okay.
So we really didn't race a lot together on motorcycles. And then I didn't race together with him for another 4 or 5 years when I got into sprint cars competitively, where I could keep up with him.
When you started driving sprint cars, did it just feel like this is where I'm going to be?
I actually started in modifieds, which is a little quarter-mile track.
Yep.
And it felt awful natural.
Yeah.
When you race motorcycles and you know if you goof up, you're going to skin your knees or your elbows or worse. So you learn to race on the edge without falling off the edge. And if I was ever going to train somebody to race cars, it would be starting out on motorcycles, so they could learn that how close can I get to the edge without busting my butt. And I think that teaches you
a respect and a balance.
Yeah, how fast can I go without going too fast? You gotta be able to balance that.
And let's face it, that's the old in order to finish first, you've got to first finish, and that obviously something you made a career out of.
Yeah, there was when I retired from sprint cars at Paris, California, they had a really nice plaque for me, and they read off all the things that I had done. And one of the things that I had done in SCRA was out of 110 races or something. I think it was 125 races. I finished in the top 10 110 times.
Wow.
I finished in the top 5 like 95 or 98 times. So I mean, that finishing record is, I mean, that's what won me a lot of the championships is, you know, when you have a 5th place car, you don't crash trying to get to 4th or 3rd. You take 5th and try and work on it and make it better for the next week.
Does that attitude reflect into other facets of your life, Ron? Were you like that as a kid? Did you have that sort of, did you save up your marbles rather than rolling them down the aisle? Or?
It's really weird. I have so much patience in a race car. At Ascot, which is a very scary racetrack, it's my favorite racetrack.
Was it really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I feel like I had big advantages at Ascot because there was always a bottom and a top. So if the guys are around the bottom, I'll try and figure out how to get around the top, or vice versa. But I had a lot of patience, but it was also a very dangerous racetrack. When I first started racing in the early 70s there was guys almost getting killed once a year there. Very dangerous.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of respect for the racetrack. So when I raced for Stanton in 79, there was a lot of races in the heat races where you had to get to 4th. I might not have get to 4th till the last lap of the heat race.
Yep.
Because why take a chance, you know, when somebody else was going to almost spin out, you could drive by them without taking a chance. Yeah, I mean, it was that rough, that dangerous of a racetrack, and as the years got by, I mastered it pretty good to where, you know, there was always 2 grooves and there was always a place to go racing.
And Ron, as a car owner, that you would have been a good bet for people because A, your consistency, but B, you weren't going to tear their stuff up unnecessarily. So
No.
I would imagine that you were, apart from your success rate, you were a good option.
Yeah. I finished most of the races I started.
And they pay the money on the last lap.
Yeah, they don't pay that money to start.
No.
They pay the money to finish. So to finish first you must finish.
How old were you when you started?
Motorcycles, 15. Then my first car, I think, was the same car that Billy and Leland started in.
That's great.
And I think it was, I'm going to guess 69, 68. So I was probably 16 years old, 17 years old, my first car.
Yep.
And then over the winter, my dad and one of Leland's good buddies, mechanics, and myself, we built a car. We bought a frame from a local racer that had never been put together. We built it, and then I won a state super modified championship the next year in that car. So
nice.
It was pretty good. It was a good race car. I could run way sideways in it. Gene Brown, a great race car driver here in Arizona, he says, I didn't try to pass him because I figured I knew he was going to spin out, and I didn't spin out very often. So it was a lot of fun back then.
So you love backing it in?
Oh yeah. Which is odd because, you know, to win races at Manzanita you don't, but on the little racetrack you could. You know, little racetrack you could run pretty sideways, but then to go fast at the big racetrack on the half mile, you had to run it real straight, momentum.
From your era, Ron, you probably had the most versatility out of the greater majority of people you raced against. When you look at your career in the IndyCar side of things, you know, your wing sprint, the outlaw stuff you did, the non-wing sprint, the midget, that wasn't necessarily commonplace for people to run Indy cars and sprint cars.
Well, I only ran Indy cars. I ran Ontario in 1980, and then I went to the Speedway and was the next one to go out when the qualifying was called off on Sunday night. But we weren't going fast enough anyway. It isn't like I'm brokenhearted about it. It was a lot of fun. I got to race around Indianapolis all month of May, and it was a lot of fun. But I wouldn't say that I really raced IndyCar very much at all.
But you still were in that car.
I was in the car, and I didn't crash.
That's important to know. What was that experience like? I mean, to finally get that opportunity.
It was a pressure cooker. On a clock, on a stopwatch, like I was qualifying, I went out and made 2 laps, and then it started to rain. I pulled in, I went out and just got up to speed, and then they pulled me in again. So but while we were practicing all month of May, I needed to run, I think I was running about 179.5, and I needed to run about 182. Only 2.5 miles an hour around a 2.5 mile track. It's not that much faster, and to click it on a watch, it's not very much faster. You don't have to click very much to get that extra 2.5 mile an hour.
Is there that sense of speed? I mean, is that a silly question to ask? Is it? Do you get that sensation you're doing 180 mile an hour in those situations?
Yeah, you do. In fact, I tell people that in those days in those cars, when you got it up, when you pull out of the pits and you hit second, going on the back straightaway, and by the time you get into third, getting into turn 3, it actually gets quiet.
Really?
Yeah, because the noise is behind you.
Wow.
The noise.
So it's not bouncing off the wall alongside you.
Oh,
it's behind
no.
you.
It's really quiet. I was surprised how quiet it got.
Is that an eeriness?
It was different. I mean, you think of it, every race car I ever drove was loud and noisy and vibrating, and this thing
And backed in.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you weren't backing in the Indycar.
No. It was a lot of fun to run around up there the month of May, and a lot of people don't get to do it. But the other accomplishments, the midget, the Silver Crown cars. I won most everything I ever set out to win, other than Chili Bowl and the championship and the Silver Crown cars. Other than that, I pretty well won everything I wanted to win. And
so no regrets?
Oh, no regrets. None.
No more excuses. No more maybes. No more putting it off. This is the year. Be there. Sprint Car's greatest week. The 59th annual NOS Energy Drink Knoxville Nationals, August 7th through 10th. Buy your tickets now at KnoxvilleRaceway.com and check it off your bucket list.
Situation normal. Some guy on like one wheel. I think maybe there was two, slightly on the ground. Ron Schumann, it's so cool to catch up with you. Thank you so much for your time. You picked this great little spot, I gotta say. Is this a local haunt for you?
No, I've been here for a couple meetings. You can kind of get in the back and nobody bothers you, other than the music a little bit. But other than that, they're not real busy in the afternoon, and you kind of like you own the place.
What's it called?
Flame Jumper.
There we go. What do you do these days, mate?
Outside sales for an auto parts house.
Okay. You've always been pretty easy on auto parts. You're never hard on the equipment. Makes sense, really, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I just always figured that, you got to finish to make any money, so.
We talked with Lealand about his, did he prefer any specific genre of car that he drove over the years? What about you? Were you an outlaw guy? Was it all non-wing, your preference? Was it midget? You won Turkey Night 4 times in a row. Was there a love of midget racing, or was it non-wing, or
well, I ran a World of Outlaws started in 79 with Stanton, all the way up through 87. And that was mostly wings. And I decided that in 87 I didn't have a very good year in the Outlaws, and I came out here to Arizona and finished up the year with some non-wing stuff. I run second to Kinzer in the Western World on the little track at Manzanita, and then I won all the non-wing shows, Ascot and Manzanita, and the owner of the place had a pretty good business, and he says, how about if I just give you a salary for what you're going to make next year in the World of Outlaws, and you can stay here and race? I said, I'm in. So I got paid a salary, and I won the championship. In fact, I actually won a championship, and I left in June. You guys race through June, right?
Our racing in Australia is October through to April. We're the opposite to you.
Yeah, but I came down here.
Yes, you did. It was a Winter Nationals race.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
And I was only there for 2 days.
Yes, that's right.
And
you drove for Ian Saville in the midget, and you drove for Dennis Farr in the sprint car.
And it was only one weekend.
Yeah.
I thought it was in June.
Right? It was Winter Nationals. Yes, sir.
At Parramatta.
Yep.
And the first night, the racetrack was really wet and heavy, and they had water running in the infield.
Yep.
It was amazing. And then the promoter said, well, what would you guys do in the States, and I said, well, you drag the top, you water the track, you drag the top to the bottom, and you water it, and you keep dragging it back and forth and watering it. And I guess they didn't get enough water on it, and it was bone dry slick, and I won like 8 out of 12 races the next day. And at the time, they made a big deal out of me winning a midget and a sprint car race on the same day, because I guess I was under the impression maybe I was the only one that did it, but you said you found somebody else.
So Gary Rush is the only other person that did that, and let me say, if there was going to be someone else that could do that, Gary Rush is the undisputed.
Yeah.
He's the Kinser of Australia, so you're in good company.
Oh yeah.
What do you recall about that trip? Obviously, it was pretty quick, a very long flight.
It was very quick. I slept good on airplanes.
Okay.
One trip, it wasn't that trip. The next summer, I guess, winter, summer for you guys.
Yeah.
I went down there and I slept all the way from Honolulu to Sydney. That was almost 8 hours, and it was almost like from midnight to 8 in the morning. So it was almost, when I got there, it was almost like a normal day for me.
Tell me about the Knoxville Nationals, Ron. That has to rate up there as one of your great racing moments.
That is probably one of the greatest moments. You know, when we first started going back there in the 70s, it was a gathering place of everybody and anybody that raced sprint cars. No matter what part of the country you was from, if you was any good, you was going to be going to the Knoxville Nationals. And then it got to be running wings all the time, and it got the special part of it left some of it. The same thing with Western World, you know. In the 70s, when we started running Western World at Manzanita, I mean, Dick Sutcliffe from Iowa, and Weld was running Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
You got up East Coast, West Coast, everybody in between. Got guys from coming from Texas. And it just, I don't know if people don't travel like that anymore, or if but the special part of it is gone. And Knoxville was so special that to win the Knoxville Nationals, you beat the best. So tell
me about Sammy Swindell. I just wanted to make you smile then.
Yeah, he was the only one that wouldn't hang around with us. You know, like me and Kinser and Bobby Allen and Danny.
Used to play golf together and stuff, right?
Well, yeah, me and Kinser played a lot of golf together, but nobody else that raced much played golf. But we drank a lot of beer. Bobby Allen traveled in my motorhome. Danny Smith traveled in my motorhome. From one race to the other, it's better than traveling in their truck or their van. So
yeah.
So it was fun. But Sammy was a different breed. You know, not all wrong, because he was very good at what he did. Probably the only one that could run a whole race.
Yeah.
Team, did it all himself, and was very successful at it. But me and him never got along.
That doesn't put you in a small group of people. Sammy keeps to himself a fair bit.
Yeah.
But he's important to the sport, Ron, and I didn't really understand that till a couple of years ago. You have to have heroes and villains. You have to have polarizing personalities.
Yeah, I believe that.
And you get what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
He never pretends he's not what he is.
No, it's just like when I did something wrong, I always said, "Hey, man, I'm sorry, I screwed up. I ran into you. I didn't mean to. I feel bad about it. You know, I won't do it again. I'll try real hard." But I don't know if he's ever done that. I don't know if he's ever run into anybody that was his fault. I don't know. I never have seen or heard that it was his fault when something happened. It was always somebody else's.
Ron, you don't go to the sport at all, really. You don't have very much to do with it at all. Can I ask why?
Well, when I quit racing, then I was voted president of SCRA.
Yeah.
I ran that for 7 years, I think. Very successful. Went with the Non-Wing World Championship back Midwest tour and went to some racetracks. So my guys from California and Arizona got to go clear to Williams Grove, you know, and run Williams Grove. They never got to do that, you know.
Yeah.
So I was busy doing that. The wife helped a lot with the office work, you know, with keeping things going the right direction, and so I didn't miss. When I got out of the race car, I was still involved with racing, and I was making some improvements with the money. I helped with the purses and helped get that up. We got a little bit of TV time, not as much as I wanted, and it wasn't as successful I wanted it. But that's TV with a non-wing sprint car is a pretty tough deal. But and then when I got out of racing. I'd done everything I wanted to do, and I didn't want to do no more, I guess.
So, any of your kids go on to do anything in motor racing at all, mate?
Well, my boy. Is,
Yeah, your boy.
Yeah, I'm very, very proud of him. He went back east at a very young age when he started racing sprint cars. He could run back there 3 nights a week. We're out here running 3 times a month.
Yep.
And he won some races. One of the proudest things of him, one of the best things he ever did was at Putnamville, he won 6 main events in 5 different race cars. That's pretty good. I mean,
Versatility.
Yeah.
Wonder where he got that from.
I don't know. I'm not sure. but and then he was slowing down, not running a lot of the little tracks, and ran some Silver Crown cars. And I think he's only run 2 or 3 wing races, and made the World of Outlaw main events, the couple of the wing races that he ran. So I was proud of him for that. And then this year at the PRI show, I guess the head of the World of Outlaws grabbed him and says, Casey Schumann, would you be interested in taking over the World of Outlaw stock cars? He says, I know nothing about stock cars. I never drove a stock car. I never worked on a stock car. I don't know nothing about stock cars. They said, if you're interested, we'll fly you to North Carolina and we'll talk to you. And that's what he's doing now. So
That's cool.
I just spent a week with him back east, and he just took off. They just ran a 30,000 to win stock car race in Fairfield, something like that, Illinois, and
Okay.
Big deal.
Has racing been good to you, Ron?
Oh, very good. Where else can you go and race for 25 years and make a living doing something that was a lot of fun doing?
Yeah. And not many people got paid 100%.
Well, obviously I didn't get paid 100% every time.
No, but hey.
There was one car owner that he had more money than what he knew what to do with. He had 2 race cars that were absolutely immaculate, beautiful, polished aluminum, fancy paint jobs, the best that money can buy, and he'd never won any races. So he got with Larry Howard in California, and Larry Howard says, hire Schumann, and we put a deal together, and he says, just pay him 100%, give him some money to show up, and he'll win you some races. And I won the first 2 nights for him, and the rest is history. I mean, I won Western World one night for him, and so it was a very good car for me. I didn't run it a lot because I was on the World Outlaw Tour mostly, but it was a lot of fun.
Mate, you've had a phenomenal career. I feel so thrilled to have spent this time with you today. Even in, right down there in Australia, you have an enormous following, and I hope that you feel a sense of pride, Ron, in your career, because you were a phenomenal racer, but so widely respected by so many people.
Well, I always did it. Somebody asked me years ago what I'm probably most proud of, and I'm most proud of being able to probably walk in anybody's pit area and not have to worry about, did I crash that guy in 78 or 88 or 98? Do I have to worry about, is this guy pissed off at me about something? Well, I very seldom did I ever run into people.
Yeah.
If I ran into you, mainly it was probably on purpose, because I can only stand so much and I can't stand no more. So
you could probably hang out in a guy's pit from Bartlett in Tennessee. I don't know. How do you reckon, or Germantown? How do you reckon that'd go these days?
There were times where Amy cut my hair, cut Casey's hair. I mean, Amy was friendly sometimes, and Sammy was friendly sometimes. But he's just a different duck. I mean, he's one of the greatest race car drivers of all time.
Absolutely.
But just not one of the most sociable.
It's been so cool hanging out with you, Ron. Thank you so much for your time, mate.
Thanks for remembering who I am.
Oh my God, mate, we're never going to forget. It's moments like this right here, and there's a guy in Sydney who thinks the world of you, who has that gorgeous car of yours restored, and that's the stuff that gives me goosebumps.
Well, I'll find somebody over here. That I got a guy I'll be calling this afternoon, just because you reminded me of it, and he actually worked for Larry Howard, worked with Larry Howard, and he will probably, if he doesn't buy it, he'll find somebody that does.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
The flying shoe. I love it.
Perfection always gets the attention. The ultimate design. The ultimate performance. The ultimate safety. The ultimate perfection. All new, mighty.
Well, that's all we have time for on today's program, but tomorrow for episode 3 of The Road to Knoxville on Speed Stories, we're going to speak to the unbelievably talented and super cool Tempe Tornado, Lealand McSpadden. What an incredible legend this man is. And we're going to head to Young in New South Wales and visit a guy called Mad Harry Delamont. Harry's got a collection of Speedway memorabilia that will blow your mind. A very big episode 3 coming up tomorrow on Speed Stories. Hope you can join us then.